just kind of playing around with some beats here. Not that I'm a musician or anything. It's just that I'm wanting to let ladies know what a lady is and what the difference is between having a woman. A woman can be any woman, but a lady is something that is pure. A lady is someone that knows how to remain queen humble, and she will never let go of her man, husband, just as well as she wouldn't let go of God's unchanging hand. So if you commit yourself to someone, stay committed, because temptation can be it can be a temptation it's out there, but always keep your head towards your man and never the opposite direction. Because if you start turning your head the opposite direction, then that's when things begin to fall apart. That means it's less talking, it's more arguments, it's more, what are you doing, where you been, and then you get to having the insecurity. So my thing is, if you're a true lady and you have devoted yourself to a man, then I suggest you remain queen humble. That means carry yourself as a queen, be for your man, let no one else tell you what he's doing and they're getting too much in your business. That means they don't have a life. But ladies, I'm here to talk about a man that I have who has been through some of the abuse you could never imagine. And because he went through that abuse, he didn't know how to treat me. And everything that he was upset about in his childhood, he took it out on me. And I went through some of the worst domestic violence you can imagine. To me, getting a telephone cord wrapped around my ankles and pulled up and wrapped around my wrist to where he could just have his way with my body. And I'm not even going to say it all because I don't know, young kids tap into so many different videos, but he just had his way with me. And whatever you could imagine, that's what it was. But now that I'm older and I went through all of that, people question me and say, well, why didn't you leave? Why did you remain in the situation? And I remained in the situation because when I looked at all of my aunties, they felt like they could do tick for tack. Because if they knew their man was cheating, they went and did the same thing. And me, being a young kid coming up, I didn't want to be what I saw. I wanted to be something totally different. I wanted to remain humble through every situation. I wanted to be there for that man no matter what, because I knew that he was hurting inside and he was dealing with so much. He was fighting with demons. He was fighting with guilt. because of the things that he did to me. And I myself was abused as a kid in so many different ways that you can imagine. I came from a family who treated me like I was from a third world country. And every time I had money, they took it from me. When I got with my husband, I remember being the age of 15 and I wished for him on a shooting star. And I don't know if, a lot of you guys have ever heard this song. I'm wishing on a star to follow where you are. And that's exactly what I did. I wished up on a star to be with this man, to have kids with him, but I didn't put things in perspective on how I wanted it. I just wished to be with him. And lo and behold, the things that I was going through as a child to drive me to the point where I was looking for love, I actually jumped out of the fire into the frying pan. But for some reason, God had a hold of me to where I didn't know what love felt like because I had never got it before, but I knew how to give it. And I continued to give love. And I only wanted kids because I didn't have anybody to love me, and I knew my kids would love me. So I'm grateful for the gift that God gave me, which is my children, whom I'm supposed to cherish. So now that I have 3 young men who are 18, 19, and 20, I have to teach them how to look in the mirror and say, I am a handsome young man. I'm a wise young man. I am a humble young man. I have knowledge that God has gifted me with. I am not my father, but I am better than my father. I have a 13-year-old daughter that I'm wrestling with, and I go through the typical things you go through with a teenager. Very argumentative, want to dress the way she wants to. But even though I yell and I scream at her, and sometimes she's like, Mom, why are you cussing at me? And I say, well, sometimes you can really push my buttons and you can say some mean things to your mom to the point where you don't even understand half of the things I went through as a kid. And let's remember, our children don't get disciplined like we did. I got beat with an extension cord. I got made to go take a shower, get out of the shower, and got beat with an extension cord again. I got hit upside the head with brooms, shoes thrown at you, threatened to get hit in the head with a hammer. But I remain humble through every situation. And because I went through so much abuse from childhood on up, I later found out that a lot of things that I was told about my biological mother, whom I didn't meet until I was 14. Now that I'm 37, I just turned 37 in July. There's no way in the world I would let anybody tell me anything about my mom. So you want to call my mom crazy? Call her crazy. But that's going to be between you and God, because you're being very judgmental. Now that I'm knowing what my mother went through as a kid, I took the initiative this year because my spirit was feeding me. Go honor your mother. Because the Bible clearly says, honor thy mother and father, regardless. Because she brought me into this world and I didn't know a thing about my mom. I was hidden from my mom. But I met her at the age of 14. And I felt like it was the end of life because the very first time I needed her, I got excuses. The very first time I needed my dad, I got excuses. but failing to realize as a kid, they were only trying to survive for themselves. They could only take care of themselves. So now that I'm older, I love my mom and I love my father. We don't talk as much because right now my mother and father are sleeping in their trucks. And I always say, if God ever blessed me, the first thing I would do was go buy my mother and father a house so they wouldn't have to sleep on the streets. I've had my 3rd blood transfusion as of earlier this year. And I've been fighting with anemia since I was a young kid. But because I've had so many blood transfusions, 2 months after getting the blood transfusion, I started having pain in my left breast. And the pain was just coming off and on, off and on. Didn't think anything of it. Another month went by, and I gave myself a breast exam while I was in the shower, and I felt 2 lumps. I've been to 3 different hospitals, and all of the basic tests that they ran came back negative. So now they're telling me, go get checked for breast cancer. But I remain humble through all of these situations because I know in the end, God will have a blessing for me. Now, like I said, as of earlier this year, my spirit was feeding me, go honor your mother. And on Mother's Day, when I took my mother a present for Mother's Day, my mother gave me a hug, something I would have never expected. Like, the last time I seen my mom was when I was probably 22 years old. I ran into her when I was 18. And I told her I wanted to commit suicide because I was going through so much abuse with my children's father to the point where I wanted to commit suicide. And I started taking a razor blade and I started cutting myself. And my mom rolled a joint and she blew the smoke in my face and she started talking about one of my other siblings. And I was like, how dare you? Because I'm here to tell you about what I'm going through. Not knowing at a young age that she had already went through something herself, so why would I bring more stress to her? So now that I ran into my mom when I was 21 years old was the time that my grandmother tried to take advantage of me while she was on her deathbed. Now, mind you, my grandfather passed away when I was 10 years old, and I was supposed to get money that he left to me, but my grandmother took that money from me. That was the first time. The second time was my grandmother was on her deathbed and she only took out 2 insurance policies because the doctors told her I wasn't going to live to see 21 years old because of the abuse I went through as a child. And I was told my mother tried to drown me in hot steaming water. My mother sat me in the fire ants and let the ant beds eat at me. Let the ants eat at me. And we're talking about the red fire ants. So I was told that my mom sat me in an ant bed and let the ants eat me. I was told that I was malnutritious and I was never fed. But throughout all of that, my grandmother hid from me who my biological parents was, and I didn't meet my parents until I was 14, let alone didn't even know I had other siblings. But I'm still here today because you know what? I remain humble through every situation. So right before my grandmother passed away, she called me over and she had 7 kids of her own. 7 kids of her own. And they were all waiting for me to come sign these documents because they thought $10,000 was involved. And I'm like, $10,000? How much y'all think y'all gonna get? And it's 7 kids. So I'm sitting at the table with the agent. And he's going over my insurance policies, and he's telling me, I said, well, how much is it? He said, well, you can keep your policies open and they'll be worth $10,000. They're not worth $10,000 because your grandmother has been drawing off of them. They were only worth $1,000. So then my grandmother looks at the Asian and she tells him, well, I don't think she deserves it. She don't deserve nothing. Now, mind you, I'm 22 years old. You've already taken what was rightfully mine, what was left to me. So you gonna try it again? So I said, okay, God, if this is what it shall be, let her have it. Let her have it. But little did I know, God heard my cry, and he sent those 2 checks that were rightfully mine. He sent them to me. So during the midst of me getting one blessing, I was blessed with a job as well that was paying me well. And I was getting $10,000 every year at income tax. But the man that I was with, my children's father, my husband, every year that I got that money, it was like I was going back through the situation I had already been through. He was taking my money, threatening if I didn't give him half of it, if I didn't give him something, it was taken away from me. That was the 3rd time. So after a while, I gave up and I said, Lord, I'm still remaining humble. Even though I'm going through this, even though this man has doubted me, every time I went to work, I was called all kind of B's and H's. I had to be sucking this and doing that at work besides working. Now I was a housekeeper. I had to turn 25 rooms over a day, and you have approximately 30 minutes to clean each room. And we talking about, if you've ever been to a hospital and you see what's in those rooms and you have to remove all of that equipment out of the room, stripping linen. And back then I was only 105 pounds, and here I am carrying big loads of linen bags, dragging them down the hallway, trying to get these rooms done as fast as I can, let alone helping other people and cleaning my area, because I had an area where I had to do day surgery, and I had to turn over I had to make 25 beds and get it ready for surgery in the morning because I worked the night shift. And then I had to go upstairs to human resource on the very top floor, and I had 25 offices that I had to go clean. So it was a lot. I didn't have time to do all that extra, and let alone, I wasn't even thinking of extra. I wasn't thinking of another man. The only thing I was thinking is how to provide for my kids, how to make my kids happy, because while I was at work, I didn't know what they were going through at home. But I know when I got home, my kids couldn't even focus in school because the only thing they saw was violence. 2, 3 in the morning, violence, yelling and screaming and fussing and cussing. And seeing their mother having to defend for herself. But I remain queen humble through every situation. And I'm still here today. I'm still fighting on with this sickness, but I'm still here today. So, when I say, ladies, if you choose to be with a man, if you choose to be with a man that's a hustler, and you don't know how to deal with everything that's on the outside and remain queen humble, then that man is not for you. Because in the end, everything will work out for you if you stay on bending knees, if you stay prayed up. Some of y'all like, oh, God ain't real, woo 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 to this. Let me tell you this. I tried to kill myself in 2013. I tried to kill myself by overdosing on hydrocordones that was 600 milligrams each. And I took the whole bottle except for one. And I probably just took just a sip of water just to push the pills down. And if I tell you why I laid passed out, or why I was half out of half dead. I had an out of body experience where I could see myself laying in my bed, passed out. But while I was looking at myself, God came to me. And this man's voice is not like his voice is not like any other man's voice. It's very strong, very deep. Now you can hear a man talk all day and he got a deep voice. No. This man's voice is like a vibration. It's like it gives you chills in your body. But I remain humble. And God was talking to me and he said, it's not your time yet. What are you doing? I want you to get back up. I want you to fight. Take another breath. And as I proceeded to wake up, I remember taking a gasp of air, like I can't even explain it. It was I just took this big gasp of air. And it took me about a good minute to realize where I was. And when I came to and realized that I was still here, and I got up out the bed, and I grabbed a hold to the wall and began to walk down the hallway, my body just started to shake. So the medicine didn't kill me. It just took over my nervous system. And as I made it to the front room and I saw the light of day, by the time I made it to the front door, I just dropped and I said, God, I give in. Because you are truly real. And no one understands when you are at your lowest, that's when he wants your soul. When you feel like there's no hope left, when you feel like the storm that you're going through while it's raging, it's the best time for you to drop to your knees. Because he will show you some things that you would have never imagined. So after that, a month later, I used to sing all the time, but I started talking to God, and I said, God, if there's a song you want me to sing, to cry out to your angels, I want you to give me the words. And I remember being at work, and right in the midst of me cleaning a room, he gave me some words, and I said, okay. I said, hold on, let me take a pause for a minute. And I took a piece of paper. It was a greeting card that you're supposed to stick into the rooms. And I took that piece of paper and I began to write on it. And I read back over the words that he was giving me, and I said, I understand. I understand what you were saying. And I said, now, Lord, I said, I want you to give me a voice like no one has ever heard. I want to sing like you're one of your angels that's coming down from heaven. And before I knew it, when I opened my mouth and began to sing, I started singing notes that I could never imagine that I could hit. So what I'm saying, ladies, don't give up on a man. If you know a man whose mother has hurt him in the past, if you know a man whose father was never in his life, if you catch this man that you're so-called loving, if you catch him just sitting by himself and he just so happens, you see him and he drop his head, you know there's a missing part of him. You know that there's something that he needs. And it is up to you to remain humble and show him love. Even if you haven't had it. Even if you don't know what it is. Because I can say, like I say, I don't know what love is because I've never been given it except for the man God himself who's given me love. And because he's given me love, I know how to give it. I know how to show it. Now, I've been talked about. I have been beaten down, spit on. And I have had other men that say, oh, you don't need that in your life, or he shouldn't be doing this. Hey, I don't need nobody else trying to tell me what they can do for me. Because this is the man that I chose to be with. And I will give my heart and my soul to him. But at the same time, I will stay on bending knees and pray for him. Because it is love that he needs. He needs to know what it feels like, and he needs to know I'm not against him. So all of your demons that he may fight, or all of the demons that he's fighting, the suicidal thoughts, the thought of thinking, oh, you just like all these other women. Y'all just about this and woo-woo-woo. Hey, there's no money now because it's all been taken away from me and I'm down to nothing. I don't have a dime in my account, probably 37 cents left. I'm still here. I remain humble. And when the money comes, I'll still never go anywhere. I'll still be here and I'll still remain humble. Because I wished upon a star to follow where you are, and I'll never let you go astray. I'll never let him fall to his lowest, to where he seems like all hope is gone and there's nothing left. Because without all of the riches, there's beauty in life. When you wake up in the morning and you've taken a breath, that's life. When you wake up in the morning, you're able to go to the kitchen and cook you some eggs and bacon that some people might not even have. That's life. So I say to you, while the storm is raging,